Hilary Cragg here. I'm going to talk today about loss of identity when somebody's diagnosed with a dementia, and that can either be for the carer or for the person with dementia themselves. So I hope this is going to be helpful. I can see in the back of the camera shot there's one of my cats. There are a couple of others of here. I have 3 in total. And so one of them might walk across the shot in a little while. So welcome to my house and my cats. Anyway, loss of identity. We have various identities. I have an identity as a cat mum. I'm also a solicitor, so I have that identity in my professional role. I'm a mum because I have 2 gorgeous kids. I was a daughter. I still am a daughter, even though both of my parents have passed away. I'm still their daughter. And so we have lots of identities, but some of them can feel lost when we develop or when the person develops a dementia. And I certainly felt a big part of my life got transitioned into becoming a carer. When I became a carer for my mum, that took over quite a lot of my time, and more importantly, it took over a massive amount of my headspace in trying to help support my mum to live as well as possible. People have these various identities, and then for the person with dementia themselves, they can become referred to as dementia sufferer, and the concept of suffering isn't the politically correct way to talk about people with dementia, but nevertheless that label is around a lot, and people with dementia don't always want to think that they're suffering, and they're still a person. They still like chocolate cake, or they still love going for walks, or they love dogs, or they hate dogs, but they have lots of other things about them that is nothing to do with their dementia, but everything seems to be subsumed and swallowed up by that idea that they have a dementia, by that diagnosis of that dementia, and that becomes the most important thing. Now, as time progresses, because dementia is a deteriorating condition, their dementia might become really quite overwhelmingly important in their life, but certainly in the early stages, and certainly at the time when they've got concepts and ideas about identity, it is not necessarily one of the most important things that they still think about themselves. That person is still a person. They might be a parent, they'll definitely be a child of somebody. Even if they're dead, they still are a child of somebody. They could still own pets, they might have a great house, they might have a fantastic hobby that they're brilliant at. And that person it stops being known for all of those things, and yet they're an amazing gardener, or they can play the piano. And it's really important, if you know anybody with a dementia, to remember all of those things about them and not just focus on their dementia. And for the person themselves as well, to remember all of those things and not just focus on the dementia. And then for full-time carers or very significant carers, which can often be a spouse or a family member, then the role of becoming a carer can take over and become the most important thing. So they stop being a person who works. They can even give up work to become a full-time carer, or put a significant number of hours into their caring role. And that loss of identity can really change that person. And then eventually for the carer, if their loved one dies, or when their loved one dies, they've suddenly lost this huge part of their life, and they don't know what to do anymore, and they do feel a little bit lost. I certainly transitioned from becoming a carer after my mum died by dealing with her estate. So I was able to transition out of my role of carer by, first of all, still continuing to do stuff for my mum, but it was to do stuff in respect of her estate rather than doing something for her while she was still alive. So if you know anybody with a dementia, or if you know a carer of somebody with a dementia, just remember that there's more things about them. They're still a person. Both the carer and the person with dementia are still people. and they have a huge range of aspects of their life that has nothing to do with their dementia. So it's really great for them to focus on some of those other things as well. Talk about the piano, talk about gardening, talk about their pets, talk about, and do those things. Go for a walk, go for lunch, take them to the sea, take them out into the country. If their mobility isn't great, they can still look at it from the car. But get them to enjoy those other things that are nothing to do with their dementia, so that the loss of identity is not so great when it doesn't have to be at that time. So I really hope that's helpful. Thanks very much for listening. I'm really grateful that you listen. Take care. Bye.